Absolutely. Cindy Butts,
Here.
Wendy Clark,
Here.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri, Commissioner Mascara Bruno, Lisa Tepper Bates,
Here.
Greg Ugalde.
Here.
Great.
Okay, good. All right, well, first up on our agenda is the resolution regarding financing of 80 South Road in Farmington. And hopefully Steve can present.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to present 80 South Road. So just to get into it, the board action is to approve a taxable bond proceeds for construction of the permanent first mortgage loan of up to $15,685,000, and also a construction of the permanent second mortgage of up to $1 million from the opportunity funds to 80 South Road LLC. This is an entity formed by Sager Development LLC, which is an affiliate of Metro Realty Limited. We've had extensive experience with this developer, which I'll get into a little bit later. The first mortgage will be evidenced by a two-note structure. First is a construction note in the principal amount of up to $10,135,000, paying interest only at a rate of up to 5.75% for a term of up to 24 months. And second is a permanent loan in a principal amount of up to $5,550,000 at a rate of up to 6.50%, payable interest only on amounts advanced for up to 24 months, which will then convert to a fully amortizing permanent mortgage loan with a term of up to 35 years. The second mortgage loan will be evidenced by one note in a principal amount of up to $1 million at interest rate of 1%, with a construction term of 24 months and a permanent term of 35 years. The loan shall first accrue interest on outstanding principal at a rate not to exceed 1% per annum, payable interest only during the 24-month construction period. And second, will accrue at an interest rate of 1% during the 35-year permanent term, payable with 25% of adjusted cash flow after the deferred developer fee is paid off. To go into some details about the development itself, 80 South Road received an award of 9% low-income housing tax credits in 2023. The development is a new construction mixed income development, which consists of 65 units and two separate buildings on a total of 2.92 acres in Farmington. It's located very close to the UConn Medical Center campus. Going to the unit structure, the development will include 8 studio units, 18 one-bedroom units, and 39 two-bedroom apartments. Development will also utilize the average income minimum set aside. There will be a total of 13 units for households at or below 30% of area median income, 26 units for households at or below 50% AMI, 8 units for households at or below 60% AMI, 5 units for households at or below 80% AMI, and then there will also be 13 unrestricted units as well. 15 of the units will provide supportive services for the intellectually disabled clients of the Department of Development Services. And these units will also include state rental subsidies. Go into some details about the buildings themselves. Building A will be a 3.5-story building with an elevator. It will also include an indoor common amenity space, which will have a dedicated study area that includes Wi-Fi, an outdoor patio, an office, package room, and also a conference room. Floors 2 and 3 will include laundry rooms. Building B will be 3 stories with apartment flats on the first level and 2-story townhouse units above, with individual entrances from the building exterior and no common corridors. Building B will also have an office for the resident services coordinator. Development received points for proposing design with a HERS rating of less or equal to 42. And for green building, they are designing the project to LEED Gold and are including a solar array, which will offset greater than or equal to 90% of the annual energy demand for site and interior common area lighting. Now to go into the development teams themselves, the developer is Sager Development LLC, which as mentioned before is an affiliate of Metro Realty Limited. We've had extensive experience with them. We currently have 17 active developments comprised of a total of 1,321 units in our portfolio at CHFA. The properties are all well maintained and the borrower reports single-digit vacancy rates for every building with long waiting lists. Just to kind of name off a couple of the properties they have done, they've completed Berry Patch 1 and 2, Boulder Ridge, Hart Street Gardens, and Heritage Glen, just to name a couple of them. As you can see, the list is right here. For the project architect is Cross Key Architects, which we also have experience with. Some of the completed CHFA funded developments include Old Talcott Mill, Clover Gardens, Liberty Gardens, and Murray on Main. The general contractor is Enterprise Builders. We've also worked with them before on some CHFA funded developments such as the Faxon, Clover Gardens, and 516 New Park Avenue. The property manager is DeMarco Management. DeMarco is a certified minority female-owned business that was founded back in 1993. They manage many of our properties, including Old Talcott Mill, Jockeyan Commons as well. To go briefly into location and market summary, the subject is located within the town of Farmington, which is a community with 8.31% affordable housing. So the site is in a high opportunity area. Some of the buildings nearby are medical office buildings, a fire station, a church, and also several residential properties as well. A bus stop is located within a 0.2-mile walk. There's also an elementary school, a middle school, a public park, which are approximately 1 mile away, and West Farms Mall as well is located approximately 3 miles away. There's also a full service grocery store approximately 3 miles away as well. In regards to the appraisal and the market studies, we are expecting those very soon. We have conducted an internal evaluation and the expected value is to be no less than $6,900,000. In regards to the financial structure, the total development cost of the project is $28,765,000, which represents a per unit cost of $442,546, or also $449 per square foot. In regards to construction costs, they total $19,310,000, which or approximately $297,079 per unit, or $266 per gross square foot. Going to the financing of the deal, in addition to the taxable bond opportunity fund financing discussed today, the permanent financing structure includes $14,350,000 in 9% LIHTC equity, $5,500,000 in DOH funds, $1,344,000 from a general partner loan, $1,071,000 in deferred developer fee, and lastly, $360,000 in energy rebates. Now going to the strengths, challenges, and mitigating factors. In regards to the strengths of the project will create 52 new affordable housing units with access to transportation. It's close to a hospital, associated medical offices, along with other businesses as discussed. It's also a high opportunity area in a town with less than 10% affordable housing. Developer also has extensive experience in real estate construction and property management, including 16 active developments in the CHFA portfolio and another under construction currently. All the projects are well maintained and in full compliance. With our current underwriting projections, they show that the development will remain sustainable for a full 35-year term. The DSC at stabilization is 1.15. It remains above 1.0 throughout the entire term. Some of the challenges that could occur are the construction risks and challenges included recognizing supply chain issues, delayed receipt of construction materials, and the potential for continued price increases. And lastly, some of the mitigating factors are the budget is based off recent pricing indications provided by the subcontractors. Developer has committed to closing within 60 days of a board approval in order to minimize the chance for price increases. There's also a construction contingency in the budget to handle unforeseen increases. The developer has a positive track record with CHFA, including achieving closings as soon as possible following the board approval. The developer has made it clear to all partners that a quick closing is expected. And lastly, the general contractor has been actively constructing since the beginning of the pandemic with little interruptions or impact to scheduling. So that sums it up. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
What do you see as the risk?
Outside of that, honestly, I think with
There's
the
no
develop-
building on it now, right? It's vacant land.
Correct, it is vacant land. Yep.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
the
it
risks,
easier.
Heidi, are the standard risks, right? If we run into any, like right now, what we're finding is most of these GCs are having difficulty locating switchgear. There's very, very long lead times on switchgear, which is just the electrical connection between the buildings and the service. Jennifer is reaching out to Eversource and United Illuminating to see if there are alternatives, even if they're just temporary alternatives that we can provide. So there's still things like that out in the market, and we've got some other standard delays. Again, Mr. Sager is very experienced. He's been doing this with us for 25 or 30 years. He very typically delivers on time and on budget. So we're very confident that he has both his dollars and his dates very solid. So while there's always risk with these deals, when you're dealing with somebody with this much experience, the risk is greatly mitigated.
Yeah, even
You
through
foresee-
phone calls with him, I mean, he kind of assesses risks on his own. So he's very experienced. He's very on top of, kind of planning ahead. So I think that really, helps.
No, we like serious. Any challenges with renting the market? It's a relatively small market piece, with the rest of the laddered population. I mean, what's the vacancy in Farmington?
The vacancy in Farmington is low single digits. It's a very, very strong market. We have a market study that demonstrates that lease up will be quick. It's like you said, it's a small project. It's not a very large project, so
Right.
don't anticipate. We anticipate very low vacancies and very rapid absorption.
Okay.
So
Any
just
other
a quick,
questions? Go
yeah,
ahead.
Heidi, just a quick thought in maybe
Excuse me.
maybe you can help. So I'm looking at the entities, and clearly it looks like Metro is now headed toward using alternate entities. How does that affect, because I notice you do get credit, as you should, for experience in things that you've done. But at the same time, I guess we do have to at least review and feel comfortable with why changes were made, why they were done that way, and then what we can look forward to in the future. As you say, Jeff has been around for a while. We've done panels together. I mean, he's good. It's just that I always wonder what happened to the financial stability when you make changes like this.
Good question.
Yeah, so I don't think it's atypical for a developer to open up affiliated special purpose entities to put these projects into. Obviously, they want to keep any liability that arises out of this project sort of corralled against the property. What we always look at the entirety. So we look at the entire relationship. So when it comes to looking at just a special purpose entity, we also look at the parent companies to make sure that they have the requisite experience and qualifications that we're looking for. And we rely on those when we're putting together these newly, deals for these newly formed entities.
I was confused. Is the management company part of Metro or not part of Metro?
In this instance, they are not a part of Metro, it's DeMarco, but Metro has experience in property management. Just not with this property per se.
Okay, but we've had experience with DeMarco also.
Correct, yes, yeah.
Yes, we currently have a lot of experience with Marie DeMarco, yes.
Okay, yeah, I think I've spoken to her, I remember on something, so
Yeah,
good.
You know, and
nice.
it's interesting too, how in order to check boxes, you know, so they use this management company because it helps, right?
Yes,
With
yes.
certain things. So I like seeing this kind of action in the marketplace. And that was a good answer, seeing how it is thought through and the teams are analyzed, because as you said, you have to stay vibrant and making sure that you keep your team able to work with a variety of others. And it looks like this is going to be, they have a very strong presence. As you know, we visited some in these areas, but especially in Farmington, and that area is key. To get 52 new affordable housing units in that area is super.
I would just want to expand on that a little bit, Greg. So this is actually a very pointed demonstration of our QAP being effective, right? I mean, we offer 2 additional points for women-owned women-owned minority businesses. And so this is a demonstration of that QAP drawing that exact business type into this transaction.
Because it made sense to them.
Yes.
Exactly.
Good,
I have a question.
sure.
Do we
So-
ever look through the entities? When we have this sort of a structure where there's an SPE established for the deal, do we ever look through the org chart of that entity to see who the owners are? And the second part of my question is, do we then, based on the risk, ever get any guarantees from those entities higher up in the chain?
Yes, for the org chart upon the submission, you know, for our 9% tax credit deals upon submission, we review the org chart. It's one of their required documents they have to upload. And I'm sorry, I kind of missed the second part of your question. I apologize.
Garvel.
Guarantees. Is it our practice to obtain guarantees from upchain entities or, controlled owners?
Yeah, Wendy, typically we do not get upstream guarantees. We have in the past when if there's been some risk, for instance, on Railroad Lofts, Cherry Street, we got upchain guarantees out of that. It all depends on the risk profile, but we typically do not get guarantees.
You said the solar is going to power like common lights and such. What sources, what are they using for? Is this an gas or is it just all electric?
Jennifer, would you have any insight on that? I'm sorry, I'm not too sure on that one.
Yeah, I believe it is all electric.
Okay. Could possibly power more. Okay, any other questions?
Heidi, just one quick question, and
Sure.
thank you, Steve and Pat. This looks like a really, I think, a very good project. But just really for edification, there's a very substantial difference between the development cost per unit and the construction costs. 449 versus 266. Is that typical, or is that reflective of the dynamics in Farmington specific?
No, it's typical. There's a lot of soft costs in these deals because of the tax credits, the syndication fees, the attorneys that have to put together all the different partnership agreements and the SPE work. And so a lot of these tax credit deals are very heavily laden with soft costs.
That's great. Thank you. I don't know why I noticed it here in particular, but I appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Who's occupying the studio units? What's the demographic there?
I believe it's all for the studio. I have to double check. I believe it's all the low income, like 30%.
Usually in these tax credit deals, a studio is for a one-person household. And they could be 30% AMI, 50% AMI, 60%. I don't know what they have for the AMI bands on those, but it's typically, it would be a one-person household that would occupy a studio.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Okay. John, call the roll, please.
Yep. Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Commissioner Mascara Bruno.
Yes.
Thank you. Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is just the minutes from the mortgage committee meeting. Anybody have any comments, changes? There, I'm fine with them. Okay, is there
Motion
a
to approve?
motion? Thanks, Greg.
Second.
Thanks, Cindy. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks. All right, we have the homeowners report to be presented by Kayla.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see
Hi.
everyone. So Don, if you want to just tab ahead a couple to the slide on market versus CHFA interest rates, that's where I'll start. Just before we dive into the specific departmental update, I just wanted to give an overview of how CHFA's market rates are, or CHFA's interest rates are, of course, below the market. So here in this graph, you'll see the average 30-year fixed rate in green, and then CHFA's average rate over time in orange. This chart goes back to the beginning of 2020, so you can see how they've tracked against each other. There was a time during 2021 and 2022 where they were sort of tracking very, very closely together, not a lot of difference. And that was the time period when interest rates were very, very low. So there wasn't much more of a spread that CHFA could give to lower our rates compared to the market. But however, as interest rates have now risen to heights that we really haven't seen since the 1980s, CHFA has started to see that spread again. So in the second quarter, we saw a spread or interest rates a little lower than the market by about 0.4%. And when we apply that to, potential test study of someone who might be purchasing a $250,000 home, the difference in rate versus, with the average 30-year and the average CHFA rate would potentially save a borrower about $50 to $60 a month in mortgage costs, so just based on the rate, all else being equal. And while that doesn't seem like a huge chunk of money, over time, it's obviously saving the borrower on their cost. And given the high rates of inflation that we're seeing in other areas right now, such as at the grocery store or on our utility bills, that $50 or $60 a month can be allocated to other costs that a low income home buyer might need to be dealing with. I also wanted to point out that while the $50 to $60 a month might not seem large, when you pair it with our down payment assistance, which many of our borrowers are doing, particularly time to own, low-income home buyers could be saving hundreds of dollars a month in housing costs because of that reduced original principal balance. So our products are really impacting our borrowers. We tab forward to the next, we'll get into an update on production numbers. So far this year, CHFA has originated 1,489 loans for a total of $31.7 million. Our delinquency rate is very low. And I also wanted to note, and I believe Nandini highlighted this in her board report, that those 1,400 loans have put us past our original KPI target for the year. And so now we'll be working towards the stretch goal. Next slide, take a look at our lender activity. So Our top lenders continue to be the same organizations: First World Mortgage and Total Mortgage Services, followed by Homestead, Norcom, and Guaranteed Rate. The next slide, we take a look at our down payment assistance program. So far, CHFA has purchased just over 1,100 DAP loans for a total of $16.5 million. And that includes our time to own numbers.
What's our budget for DAP loans? Do we have a like a ceiling, or is that just?
I don't know off the top of my head. Is Lisa, I don't know if I saw Lisa on the call, she might know, or.
Hi, Lisa. What do you mean by budget? Are you talking about per borrower or basically how much we
just,
have?
I didn't know if we had just like a bucket for the DAP loans, whether we just make them as much as we can.
There's a ceiling of 20,000.
There, okay, that's what I was thinking, because we're at 16, so we still have a ways to go.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay.
Right, so our geographic distribution continues to be very similar to our historic production numbers. We see a majority of our lending going on in Hartford County, with New Haven and Fairfield County making up our next largest markets. And that also makes sense where we see more of our primary lenders. That's where they do a majority of their business. Taking a look at our race and ethnicity breakdown, so far of those who reported on their race and ethnicity when applying for a CHFA loan, this year, 53% have been minority borrowers. This is up from 50% at this time last year. So about 3% more of our borrowers so far this year have reported their race and ethnicity as non-white. As for the gender demographic breakdown, as you can see on the chart, we're really sort of holding steady. Right now, we're at about 52% male versus 48% female main borrower. However, this year so far, CHFA has lent to about 5% more single female heads of household than last year. So whereas we're slightly under the total number of female borrowers, 5% more of them are single heads of household. And then finally, an update on our time to own down payment program. We have a little bit over 2,000 total reservations with an average reservation amount of just over $30,000 for a total of $62.1 million in time to own reservations thus far. Drawing your attention to some of the median income, age, and sales price metrics, you'll notice that the median income for a time to own borrower is quite a bit lower than the average CHFA borrower without time to own. Time to own borrowers are also younger, and they're purchasing higher priced properties. Of course, that does have to do with just the general market has seen price increases. But even just this year so far, I believe at the very beginning of 2023, that median sales price was closer to $250, and now we're up to $260 median sales price. So we are enabling our lower income borrowers to access properties that they would likely have not been able to purchase without time to own. Any questions?
Thank you. That's helpful.
Heidi, I'd like to ask a question,
Sure.
if I may. The concentration of business in Hartford County, I understand that factually that's where we are, but is it where we should be, or should we be more proactively finding a way to have a bigger book of business in other parts of the state?
Well, that's a philosophical question.
Well, it is, and I just wonder if that, it seems like the fact that we have such a high concentration in Hartford County, potentially is a result of First World Mortgage, which is by far and away our biggest producer. Mm-hmm. And so that seems a little bit of a random way to be distributing effort, just that we have somebody really good at this and they're really good in one market. That's great. But perhaps we should be doing more to push that out into other parts of the state where the benefit is not being felt as much.
Right, or as obvious, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a member of the research, marketing, and outreach team. And from a marketing and outreach perspective, I know that we've been focusing a lot of effort this year on really trying to diversify where and with what populations we're holding events. So that's certainly a part of it. And if anyone has any recommendations for events or organizations that we should definitely be in touch with that we haven't already, touched base with, we would definitely love to hear from you.
Well, have we
Yeah,
also
this
met with?
Nazim. Yeah,
ahead.
just to add to and something else to consider in terms of the population that we're serving and the inventory to serve those population. Sometimes it's just defined by the market. We have tried to, and we continue to try to expand our footprint elsewhere and trying to attract new lenders and qualify them to ensure that we can better serve different communities. So Lisa just added something that in the text here. Lisa Hensley, you want to say something?
Sorry, I needed to unmute. I couldn't find myself on here. No, I just wanted to, I sent a link also just, it says the Hartford, Connecticut metro area was the country's hottest market this month. So, you know, just to kind of give an idea, it was an article through realtor.com, and I thought that was interesting that I wanted to share.
And we did touch on that at the retreat, just a bit tangentially too, about how our focus, our events, and where we look, but to you know, Lisa's point that we could actually target it even more so if we thought that was a benefit, because there are areas of the state where they're not necessarily the hottest markets, for example, especially in terms of mortgages, but they are where we want to start opening more doors rather than be in our traditional neighborhoods. We need both, but of course, you know, our limited resources always comes into play. But it is a very interesting question about where we could look to grow the most by getting some doors open in different places around the state.
Yeah, and then for those who attended the board retreat, I think the market typologies and the upcoming housing needs assessment might be a great tool to sort of think about where there's opportunity for growth and what type of programs that we currently offer that we could sort of try to expand into those areas.
Yeah, that's great, Kayla. I would love to see in the course of time, I'd love to see the research team developing some thinking about where there should be more uptake of our products, and then potentially working with the marketing team to figure out how to not just provide general information, but maybe in those areas where we believe that there is less activity with our products and there should be, to actually target the partners in those pieces of the state and go after them specifically to find out why they're not engaging more with us and how to help encourage them to do that. And it sounds like that the data that we're developing would be helpful in that. But I'd love to think proactively about how to do that on a databasis.
Yes, thank you,
Right,
Lisa.
well, so some kind of meeting with the mortgage company that's done such a good job, you know, what can we do to help them also, since they're good at it, they understand our product, obviously, you know, let's help them expand and help us expand. It's a volume business. Okay, anybody else? Questions? Comments? Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the multifamily report to be presented by Seema.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Today I'll go over multifamily activities. So the first page is a development spotlight. For the first time, we are spotlighting a SSHP project. It's Kings Corner Manor in Gales Ferry, and the owner mortgagor is the Ledged Housing Authority. It was moderate rehab, upgrading windows, mechanicals, ADA improvements, sidewalks, and things of that nature. It's an elderly housing property with 30 units of a studio and 1 bedroom. And it's looking to final close around November of this year. So this is everything that we have on our plate. So the first tile is for the competitive 9%. And actually, it's very similar to what we had this time last year in terms of the total TDCs, total developments, and even the total unit counts. Unit counts were a little bit more last year. They were almost 7,900, and this time we are trailing about 450 short. But we have in the 9% bucket, we have 17 developments that are pending initial closing. And as you see, most of the units are affordable, and developments that have initial closed and looking to final close are 16, with total affordable units 746. Our non-competitive light tech 4% and miscellaneous continues to be the strongest bucket. We have 19 developments that are looking that we are reviewing that have not initial closed yet, and about 1,300 in affordable units. We have 28 developments that are under construction, looking to final close soon. And we have about 2,871 units there. The third tile is the SSHP CDBG grant, capital grant projects. We have 4 developments and about 155 units there. And the total TDC is about 2.2 billion. Total number of developments, 102. Total units, 7,438. We have a round underway, HTCC round. Applications are under review. And we have about 70 open applications. We have about 31.7 million in funds awarded there. The last tile is the SSHP critical priority needs. We have 19 developments with 892 units and about 4.8 million in grants there. Next page. So some news and conferences, community engagements. On June 27th, CHFA multifamily staff attended an event hosted by LISC, and all the three organizations, they were trying to talk about their neighborhoods in Hartford, Asylum Hill area, Frog Hollow, and Northeast. Each CDC represented, its unique vision for the neighborhood in which they work, including, developing both home ownership and rental opportunities. Commissioner Mosquera Bruno and the ECD folks were participating there. There was a ribbon cutting for Ribbon Row in Hartford and groundbreaking for Ellis Street in New Britain. Multifamily staff had a focused group convened for the CDFIs, which went pretty well. And as an internal dialogue, multifamily staff presented to CHFA staff the first in a series of planned sessions describing the workings of a CHFA financed multifamily deal. And the overview included how a deal comes to CHFA, what we look for, what must happen for a deal to become a real deal. And they shared, current examples with everyone. It was super informative.
So that's open to all staff of the whole company?
Yes.
Yes.
How many people did attend?
I think most of us were, it was I don't know the exact number,
A
but
big turnout?
It was a very large turnout, even with
Great.
the fire drill we had at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a very good turnout. I want to say there were 50 participants across the
That's great.
organization.
Great. Is that going to be expanded to other areas too?
Yes.
I
So
like
the
that.
single family will do it in the other areas. That's a great idea.
It is. Yes, you never know who knows somebody or
Well,
something.
especially with the hybrid structure we have right now, so you don't, we're in the office 2 days a week, the other
Right.
3 we're not interacting, so
Right,
with new people coming in, it's always good so that everybody knows what the whole organization does.
right. It's good.
Yeah, and
Okay. Go ahead, Seema. Sorry.
for the HTCC round, we have 38 applications that we are reviewing, and the awards would be reported to board in September.
Okay.
Next one, we had 5 initial closings in June. Village at Park River, Phase 5 in Hartford, Ellis Street in New Britain, SSHP deals, Ulbrich Heights in Wallingford, Temple Pines in North Haven, and DJ Kamenetsky in Bristol. There were no final closings in June. And now below it's a chart of deals that would be presented to board in the coming months. It hasn't moved much, but yes, they'll be presented soon to board.
Okay.
Next. So an upcoming transaction coming in recent months, coming in months ahead, is Bedford Gardens in Hartford. And it is developed, the owner mortgagor is single purpose entity. It is formed by the developer, Win, and Adam Stein is our contact there. The scope of work is moderate rehab, 84 family units. All 84 are affordable, and in addition to LIHTC 4%, we have the historic tax credits, CHFA TEBs, CHFA first mortgage, and the CRDA funds. It will, keep the deed restricted units. And what else? It's a combination of 1 studios and 1 to 4 bedroom units, and the scope of rehab includes windows, building exteriors, new roof, masonry, repointing, the regular stuff that we see with the moderate rehab.
Mhm.
Here's a unit mix and a few pictures that we got from the market study and stuff that they uploaded. Any questions?
Nope. Anybody? Comments? Okay. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss? Nope. Hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
And
everybody.
Heidi, I was looking for my mute button, but these reports at the end are very helpful.
Yeah.
They say
great.
so much, and it's, pictures included in the charts. They're easy to understand. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of information that we need as well. It's appreciated.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a great
everybody.
day.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Happy
Bye-bye.
summer.
Right. Thanks. Bye.